Shalom, shalom. It's your brother SOW 1986 coming to you with another video. Just a quick video as much as possible. Try to make this as brief as possible. I just want to give all praise and glory to Yahweh, Yahweh Achad, Yahweh Badad. Yahweh only was with us in the wilderness, and there was no strange idol with him. So the title of this video, or the title of this very, very brief presentation, is The Cycle of the Copper Mind State. The Cycle of the Copper Mind State. So, I also want to give shout outs to the brother Judah Nazareth. The only reason why I have this information, man, I got to give all credit where credit is due, is to that brother. Shout outs to that brother. Shout outs to the Toranites, all my brothers of the Toranites, brother Avanya, brother Z, brother X, brother Davion, brother Ron, brother Makaya, brother Shalamar, Elder Tom, Zaquan Tom. Zaquan means elder. And to all the brothers of the Toranites and the Torah Israelites, and to the few of the sisters of the Akwath, shouts to you all. Shalom. So, with regard to the copper state, we Toranites, we're all about understanding the temple and the concept of the temple and living the temple life, like becoming the temple man, right? So, before you even come to the knowledge of who you are as an Israelite, to you scattered Israelites, to you 1/3 Israelites, when you come to the knowledge as an Israelite, or before you come to the knowledge as an Israelite, you're living in a particular copper state of the mind, right? You living in this copper state, right? So you living in this copper state, right? If you look at the the altar of the sacrifice, right? You got the altar of the sacrifice, and as you can see, you're going around in circles, right? Of the altar of the sacrifice. Remember, the altar sacrifice is right. The altar of the sacrifice is overladen with brass, right? Let's go to the book of Exodus real quick. Shemawath, right? Let's just check this out real quick. Try to make this as quickly as possible. All right, where we are. Okay, let's check it out. So, this is Exodus chapter 27, starting from verse 1. You shall make the altar of acacia wood, 5 cubits in length and 5 cubits in width. The altar shall be square, and 3 cubits its height. You shall make its horn on its 4 corners. From it shall its horns be, and you shall cover it with copper, right? Right? You shall cover it with copper, right? Overlay the copper lay the copper and overlaying with the acacia wood, or the shittim wood, as it says in the KJV. So here's the question, right? We gotta ask ourselves some questions. I got a little guide. I had to, so I can remember everything, right? Talk about the copper mind state. So what is the copper mind state? We need to understand the meaning of copper and brass to be able to understand what you're talking about. SOW. What does that even mean? Copper, right? So in the language, right? Nachashath, right? Nachashath. Nachashath is the word brass or copper. And what it means, right? If you could confirm in the Strong's, go and confirm in the Strong's. It means profaneness, right? It means filthiness, right? It means base, right? The lower metal, right? So in the copper state, you're living in the base of your life, right? You're living in a state of filthiness, profaneness. You're living in the concept of your lower self, right? You're all based in carnality, right? You're a carnal being, man or woman, and you're living in this particular state, and you're just surrounding you instead of getting on the altar to make the sacrifice to Yahweh, he that dwelleth between the cherubim, he that lifteth me up from the gates of death. Instead of that, you're going around in circles, right? In this base mindset, like a serpent. Oh, dang! I gave out a clue on something. But you're on the ground, you're base, and you're circling and squiggling all around, right? In this very low state, right? So let's get an understanding, like, what is the derivation of copper or the brazen cycle? So if we break down the word NKHSHTH, right? If you break down the word, the root word of NKHSHTH is Nachash. And Nachash means the serpent. So let's confirm that. Right? Hold on. Can I actually get on? Let's just see if I can get this, show this real quick. Let's show this real quick. Let's go to Exodus, right? Exodus chapter 27 real quick. Right? Let's go to brass, right? And brass is, to confirm, y'all can see that, NKHSHTH, right? NKHSHTH. Right? And what does it mean? So you can see for yourself, copper, right? Hence something made of that metal. That is a coin, a fetter, figuratively, base, right? As compared with gold or silver. Brazen, brass, chain, copper, fetter of brass, right? Filthiness, steel. So if you go to the root word, right? If you go to the root word, let's see if we can get to H51, 54. Let's go there. Right? If you look at it, it says copper, feminine. Right? Brass, steel, or copper, right? Now the root of that, if you go, look, what you see, Nachash, right? Apparently passive participle of H5172, right? Perhaps in the sense of ringing, that is bell, metal, or from the red color of the throat of a serpent, right? When hissing, coppery, that is figuratively hard of brass. So that is the serpent. So the word NKHSHTH comes from the word Nachash, which means serpent, right? So let's get a better understanding of the serpent, right? Let's go to Bereshith chapter 3, or Genesis chapter 3, starting from verse 1. And then we're going to go to verse 14 and understand the curse of the serpent, right? Because all those who are in that concept of the copper mind state, or in the phases of the copper or the NKHSHTH, you carry the mark or the curse of the serpent. So let's go and see what it says in the Tanakh, in the Torah, right? Remember, the Torah is the law, is the not only the law, like as not only law, but it's the teaching, is the instruction, right? Now the serpent was cunning beyond any beast of the field that Yahweh Allah had made. Let's go to the language real quick and see that in the language, so you can actually see it for yourself in the language. All right. Hanachash haya arawam makala hayath hashada ishara asha. Right. Yahweh Allah, right? So Wahanachash, which means the serpent, right? Haya. And the serpent was, right? He was the wisest or the most cleverest, Arawam Makal Hayat, of all beasts, of all living things, right? In the field, right? In the field, Hashada, Eshara Asha. Now, if you break down the word Hashada, it means check out that word. It means I think it means what, demon things. I think it means demon, right? But what's more important that to really understand is that this is talking about Wahanachash, the serpent. And if you go to verse 14, and Yahweh Allah said to the serpent, because you have done this, accursed are you beyond all the cattle and beyond all beasts of the field. Upon your belly shall you go, and dust shall you eat all the days of your life. So here's the critical element with regards to the curse of the serpent. He goes on his belly, and he goes on his belly and he eat dust. So what does that actually mean? So going upon your belly, right? Going upon your appetite. So the serpent is driven by his appetite. So you in this copper state, all you focus on is, hey, I gotta eat. I gotta live. I gotta find a place to stay, right? Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong at all. Everybody understands that you gotta have a place to eat. But when you're in this state, in the state of the altar, you're not on the altar. You're surrounding the altar. You're surrounding the copper. When you're surrounding the copper, right? You're in the state of your appetite. You're based from your appetite. All you depend on is on the five senses. All you depend on the physicality of your life. You don't depend on anything else of worth, of substance. You're not seeking Yahweh. You're not seeking the Torah, the teachings and the instructions of Yahweh, the wisdom and knowledge and understanding He has given unto you to live according to, right? Because you're basing everything based on your appetite. I gotta get this money, man. I gotta get these hoes, right? And for the women and for these women, I gotta get on OnlyFans so I can get this money. I gotta get this money from these people, these dudes, right? That's what you're gonna be doing, right? You're not focusing on seeking righteousness and truth of Yahweh, right? Not in this state. You can't even know the Most High in this state. But we'll get to that. Also, I mentioned one thing. We talked about the belly. What else is the other curse, right? What else is the other curse? Hold on. Dust. Dust shall you eat. So you all are based on the consumption and consuming things of the carnal. You're all based on not just necessarily physical things that you eat per se, but on the concept of the carnal knowledge. Right? You're all based on carnality and a carnal thought process. And all you can respond to is like rap and entertainment, rap music, rock music, whoever you are. Movies that that deceive you. Right? Different music and propaganda to deceive you. Right? things that are smooth to you, but not going to give you any truth. You can't respond to truth. Matter of fact, if somebody tells you the truth, you're going to get angry at that person, even though it may be there to help you, even though that truth may be there to save thy life, but you will not respond to it because you're based in carnality. You're based on the concept of the afar, the dust. So here's the thing. What does that produce, right? So the serpent, what he does, he hisses, right? So you're based on the sorcery operation of the mind, craft, deceit, and deception. You all about getting your way, getting whatever you want. Because in this life right here, in this cycle, in this particular cycle, right? It's dog eat dog. There's no grace. There's no grace. It's all about you got to get yours, right? You're in the state of the beast, right? So let's look at the word NKHSHTH real quick, right? If you look at NKHSHTH, let's say you separate the ta, right? Let's say you separate the ta real quick, right? You got Nachash and you got the ta. The ta, right? The ta represents a mark, right? A mark or a covenant, right? Right? Or a covenant, a mark or a covenant. So what did that mean? When you're in the state of the NKHSHTH, you have the mark of the beast. You have the mark of the serpent upon your head. Who has the mark? Who has the serpent upon their head? Is it not Pharaoh? Hold on real quick. Doesn't Pharaoh have the serpent upon his head? I thought he did. You know what I'm saying? Let me see if I can find the serpent. And we're gonna do a quick breakdown of the word Pharaoh real quick. And what does that mean? Salakia. I probably should have put this on my laptop. Nevertheless, if it's not here, we just move on. But just look up the word. Just look up like go on Google and look up the Pharaoh with the serpent upon his head. You'll find it. The Pharaoh has the mark of the serpent, the mark of the beast. You don't need a microchip to have the mark of the beast. You know what I'm saying? So to move on, right? I'll run on some other stuff real quick. So we talked about Exodus chapter 37, right? We talked about the copper and the brass. Now we didn't really discuss the horns overlooking the altar. You can't see the horns overlooking the altar because you haven't made the sacrifice yet, right? So the phases of the tabernacle and temple, critical element of breaking the copper carnal mind state, right? We talked about Genesis 3:1-14. Now we're going to go to Isaiah 38:17, verse 20. But before we go there, I need to say this. When you're in the state of the copper mind state, you can't see Yahweh, okay? Matter of fact, you disdain the Most High. You disdain Yahweh. You look at the things of Yahweh in contempt, right? You look at the things of Yahweh in contempt, and every right ruling man or woman that comes to you and tells you you need to turn from your wicked ways and seek Yahweh, you're gonna snuff at them, right? Because you have the mark of the serpent, man. You have a disdainment, and this is what happens when you're in this particular mind state of the serpent. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 38 real quick. Isaiah chapter 38, verse 17. Behold, despite peace, my bitterness intensifies. But you desire that my soul not waste away in the netherworld. For you have cast all my sins behind yourself. Now listen to this. This is critical. Verse 18. For the grave cannot thank you, nor can death laud you. Those who descend to the pit cannot hope for your truth. A living person, he shall thank you, as I do today. A father can make your truth known to children. Yahweh said, he would save me. Let us play my songs all the days of our lives in the temple of Yahweh. You hear that? See, when you are in the state of the copper, you're in the state of death. You have made a covenant with death. Go to Isaiah chapter 28 and read that. Go to Isaiah chapter 28. It talks about the covenant of death. I know brothers of the Torah have brought that information out to you, and even other brothers that's in this truth, man. So when you're in the state of the Nachashath, you're in the state of death, and you can't praise Yahweh. Neither will you hope for his truth. You think a billionaire hopes for the truth of Yahweh? Please, man. Listen. You know, you're the walking dead. Those who are in the copper state. Those who do not seek the ways of Yahweh. This is when all of us has been through this state before. So, but Yahweh has mercy. But Yahweh is merciful, and he wants to save the elect, right? So let's take a look at this diagram real quick. If you take a look at this diagram, you see something that looks like a mountain that I drew up. It's supposed to be a mountain. Forgive my drawing, but this is supposed to be a mountain. And as you can see, this says Hare Yahweh. This means the mountain of Yahweh. So this is the mountain of Yahweh, right? And you see this, right? The stone of Yahweh, or Eban, right? Daniel chapter 2, verse 45. But before we go to Daniel chapter 2, verse 45, Yahweh has to, in order to break this cycle, right? As you can see, this stone is supposed to be going and breaking this cycle. But before he breaks the cycle, before Yahweh comes to your life and throws a stone at you, because some people actually have to learn to get out of the cycle the hard way. Okay, some Israelites, they like, you know what, something ain't right with this cycle. I'm going to step out of this cycle, and I'm actually going to seek the Most High and hearken to the man of Allahayam, right? So, and that's one of the first things that happens. Yahweh will send you a right ruling man, right? He will send you a warning. He will send his prophets, right? He will send his priests. He will send his teachers, right? Let's go to Jeremiah chapter 36, right? Okay, let's see what we're talking about here. Because Yahweh has to be able to wake you up out of your slumber. Remember brother Judah? Shout out to brother Judah. Remember he talked about the man that's laying down, and then once you make that sacrifice, you actually raise up when you make that sacrifice to Yahweh. And then once you actually go into the holy place, right? The Hayakal, then you're walking. You're actually walking, right? It's either you're walking when you go through the Hayakal, right? Or you're walking when you actually go through the Bar, right? When you receive and commune with Yahweh himself. Jeremiah chapter 36. Let's go. Right? So, verse 1. It happened during the 4th year of Jehoiakim, the son of Yahashua, king of Jehoiada, that this word came to Jeremiah from Yahweh, saying, Take a scroll, book and write on it all the words that I have spoken to you concerning Yashara'el, concerning Yahweh, and concerning all the nations, from the day that I first spoke to you, from the days of Yoshiah until this day. Perhaps the house of Yahweh will hear of all the evil that I intend to do to them, so that they will repent, each man from his evil way, and when I can forgive their sin and transgression. So before Yahweh actually throws a stone, right, he has to give you a warning, right? He doesn't just bring wrath upon you immediately, right? He just didn't bring wrath upon our forefathers when they was in the land, right? He always brought the prophets, right? And he always say, hey, if you continue in this way, this is going to happen to you. Those unto death, to death. And those to the famine, unto the famine. And those to the pestilence, and those into captivity, to captivity. I'm just paraphrasing. But in similar matters, he will bring his prophets rising up early to speak the word of Yahweh to the people so they can be woken up, right? Before he brings his wrath, right? This is the cycle. This is the cycle of the, right? We're talking about the cycle here, man. And our forefathers was living in the cycle. They didn't put themselves on the altar, right? They didn't give up. When I say put themselves on the altar, giving up the things that displease Yahweh, right? They didn't do those things. They continue to, like, hey man, we're gonna worship the queen. We're gonna worship the queen of heaven. We're gonna seek Ashtaroth. We're gonna seek Balaam, because that's how we got bread. Go to the end of what's that? Go to the end of Jeremiah, when it's talk about when our forefathers went into Egypt when they wasn't supposed to go into Egypt. They said they sought after the queen of heaven, right? Because they was able to get bread, right? Man shall not live by bread alone, but every word that proceeded from the mouth of Yahweh shall man live. Right? So this warning, he's sending this warning, right? So you can see in the book of Jeremiah, Yahweh saying to Jeremiah, go ahead, write these prophecies that I told you to write, that this is the thing I'm going to do to them, unto Israel, unto Yahweh, unto the nations, right? Maybe that Yahweh may turn from his wicked ways, right? This is the mercy and loving kindness of Yahweh. That's what we are, the dear beloved of his soul, right? But he will kill you and destroy you if you do not seek after his ways and do not walk in his path. And he will cast you out. It's that simple. Now let's look at the end result of what Jehoiakim did. So to make a long story short, Jehoiakim pretty much through the prophecy, right, the scroll, the book that Jeremiah wrote, really was Baruch wrote it on his behalf, right? And they read it in the ears of the king and his princes, right? So let's go to verse 20 real quick. They came to the king's courtyard and deposited the scroll in the chamber of Elishama the scribe, and they related all his words into the ears of the king. The king sent Yehudi, it's actually Yahweh, but Yahweh to get the scroll, and he took it from the chamber of Elishama the scribe. Yahweh then read it in the ears of the king and in the ears of all the officers who were standing before the king. Now the king was sitting in his winter house, for it was the 9th month, and the fireplace was burning before him. It happened that whenever Yahweh would read 3 or 4 columns, the king would cut it out with a scribe's razor and throw it into the fire that was in the fireplace until the entire scroll was burned up by the fire that was in the fireplace. The king and his servants who heard all these words did not fear, and they did not tear their clothes. Elnathan and Deliah and Gamariah, right, even begged the king not to burn the scroll, but he did not listen to them. Jehoiakim was a stiff-necked Negron, man. Just like some of our people today. Jehoiakim was a stiff-necked Negron, and just like, hey man, I don't want to hear that nonsense. That's what he said. He called that nonsense, pretty much, right? Let's continue to read. The king commanded Jeremiah, the king's son, and Seraiah, son of Azriel, and Shelemiah, son of Abdiel, to apprehend Baruch the scribe and Jeremiah the prophet, but Yahweh had hidden them. So you're going to be the servant of those who are actually in the who are already broke the cycle, has gone into the higher call. You're going to be the ones that's sent to wicked people, to the rebellious house of Israel, right? And they're going to be ready to stone you, physically or spiritually or physically in that particular matter, right? When you're trying to actually help them, right? The word of Yahweh came to Jeremiah, and the king had burned the scroll with the words that Baruch had written from the mouth of Jeremiah, saying, once again, take another scroll and write down on it all the original words that were on the first scroll that Jehoiakim, king of Yehoiada, burned. And to Jehoiakim, king of Yehoiada, say, thus said Yahweh, you burnt this scroll, saying, why did you write in it, saying the king of Babel will definitely come here, and he will destroy this land and eliminate man and beast from it. Therefore, thus said Yahweh concerning Jehoiakim, king of Yehoiada, he would not have anyone who will sit upon the throne of David, and his corpse shall be cast out into the heat of the day and to the frost of the night. Okay, so eventually he threw that stone at him, right? And Jehoiakim is not going to have a son to reign on the throne of David. Okay. Now I made a video about Jehoiakim concerning that if he's the father of Jeconiah, and Yahushua came from the line of Jeconiah, then he can't rule on the throne of David. But that's another story. So back to, that's pretty much the cycle when it comes down to it. When you are in this state as an Israelite, right? You're in this path, you're in this cycle of the Nachashath. You have the mark of the serpent upon your head. You're based in carnality of your lower self. You're based on sorcery and wickedness and abomination. Yahweh is going to send his Aban, right? Now the Aban, right? Aban can mean, if you look at it, you got the ox head, right? You got the tent and a Nawan, right? So if you separate the Elof from the Ban, right? On the left you have Ban, which means son, and then on the right you have Elof, which can mean 1,000. It can also mean chief. So he'll send a chief son to you. Let's say he sends a chief son. He sent his chief son to you. Say, hey, turn from your wicked ways, or Yahweh is going to kill you or destroy you, right? And he's going to bring the sword, the pestilence, and the famine, or the sword, the famine, and the pestilence. You know, right? Just like Jeremiah did. Jeremiah pretty much said the same thing to the Israelites, to the Judahites, right? Tell them, like, hey, turn from your wicked ways, for Yahweh bring the king of Babylon upon you to destroy you, right? Now they didn't. Again, then once you reject the word of the prophet, right? Once you reject the word of the prophet, once you reject the word that comes from the men of Yahweh, because he can send 1,000 sons too. You listen to, he sent the thousands of sons. He sends his one son, and then he sends son after son after son. Now, some people are not going to receive that type of mercy. Okay? Some people will get more mercy than other people. Okay? Go to the book of go to the book of Exodus and check that out. Right? He will be mercy to those who will be mercy. He'll have grace upon those who he'll have grace upon. Right? Not everybody will have the same mercies, okay? So once that time has run out as far as you, and you reject everything of the word of Yahweh, right? Then he's going to bring calamity and catastrophe upon you, right? He bring catastrophe upon you, right? He brings the evil upon you. Because remember, Yahweh does bring evil, not just good, right? And he throws this stone. Let's go to Daniel chapter 2 verse 45 real quick. You know what? I'm gonna stop right here, and I'm gonna make another video because I think I'm running out of time. And with that, say shalom. Coming out with the next video.